Let's talk underwriting standards and the American mortgage debacle. I'm going to send this one out to Renee Weiler and Billy Powers and Judge David Carter there out in California, and a few other federal judges and a lot of assistant U.S. attorneys all over the United States. Let's talk about underwriting standards and how Pioneer, Premier, and Paramount Mortgage Funding, the old Cugno gang, how Cugno did it. And Lee Farkas. Lee Farkas was great at this stuff, and you'd swear they learned how to do it from Dean Couch. Everybody remembers old Dean O. Couch of the Couch Mortgage Company. He'd been running multiple first lien positions on real estate going back to the 1960s. Now, just to shift gears a little bit here for my friend Renee Weiler and Billy Powers and the California 18. If you go back and you read about Paul Friggins and his stories entitled Beware of the Ranchero Racketeers, and the work of Don Bowles, you can run this one past Professor William Black at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, the investigative reporters and editors project known as the Arizona Project. What you learn simply is doctoring up the paperwork. Today they're doctoring up the electronic registrations. Today they're doing it with hocus pocus, abacadabra, presto changeo, MERS. I think Renee Weiler's probably on the floor laughing in stitches right now. And Billy Powers is going, there's a few pieces of that puzzle right there. We're talking about sheriff's deputies and all the pieces of the puzzle. Now, ladies and gentlemen, underwriting standards and doing, professional title abstracting and professional mortgage lien searches. The tax searches or something else. Now, if anybody's got any questions about tax searches, get a hold of Nelda Luce Radabow Blair at 1300 Main Street in Houston, Texas. And tell her old Judson Witham sent you. Nelda Luce Radabow Blair, and you can call Mark. Get a hold of Mark Thurmbull up at Conroe, Texas, and ask him what J.R. Moore knows about real estate titles. Hey, J.R. You never thought I never forgot you, Mr. Moore. You're that dynamite, that pack of dynamite that you had on your desk is to blame for this whole thing, Mr. Moore. He did. He had like this big old time bomb there he set on his desk. Everybody remembers J.R. Moore's time bomb. I want to give a tip of the hat to an old friend of mine who's no longer with us. His name Roy Harris. He was the county clerk for the deed records, the deed registry in Montgomery County, Texas for a lot of years. And Brian Brewer, hey Brian, and his well, I guess they're not married anymore, but Marty Brewer. Hey, Marty. The old American Priority Resources Company there at Spring, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, to make this video very serious and not to drag it out too long, you have a fiasco in the financial sector in this country involving the largest series of real estate and mortgage frauds and title insurance frauds, mail frauds, wire frauds. This scandal is immense. It is unprecedented in American financial history. It's unprecedented in world history, folks. This is record-shattering. When you have the underwriting standards just thrown out the window, and then you've got a whole bunch of quantitative easing money to play with. You know, the hundreds of billions and trillions that they printed up with keystrokes into a computer that they bailed out the financial industry with. They took all that quantitative easing money. Hell, they stuffed their pockets with that too. That would be all the butties of the Federal Reserve System, because that's who got the money first, was the butties down at the Federal Reserve Banks. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's recap, and then I'll make this one short. You've got, in federal courts all over this country, and in state courts all over this country, huge numbers of cases that are focusing on the underwriting standards. So if anybody knows where Gerald Cugno is, of the old Cugno mortgage funding cabal, sorry, Gerald, but you know, I'm from New York, and I know you're Jersey and all that, but man, you were running some interesting mortgage funding. Paramount, Premier, and what was the name of the other one there? Cugno Real Estate Funding, mortgage funding. Paramount, Pioneer, and something. I can't remember the name of the other one. All of them got shut down, by the way. He filed for bankruptcy protection, I think, in St. Petersburg, Tampa, Florida. Pioneer, Premier. Can't remember the name of that other mortgage funding outfit there, Gerald Cugno's. I'll bet you old Gerald Cugno's lawyers knew Lee Farkas and Penny Pritzker. Let's not forget Penny Pritzker and that whole gang. What was that? Oh, yeah. Tip of the hat to John C. McCone of the Western Banks. Interesting name, isn't it? George Bush Jr. George Bush Jr. knows darn well who I'm talking about when I mention John C. McCone. And what was that? Oh, yeah, James Baker III of Baker and Botts. And let's not forget Ozark Realty, Wade Real Estate, Quapaw Title. Who the hell ever heard of Quapaw Title, right, Bill Clinton? And Hillary, let's talk real estate, Hillary, and underwriting standards. So for my friend Billy Powers, and for Renee Weiler and the California 18, and let's not forget old William Wagoner, the devil's in the details. And trust me, this old boy here, he's got a whole bunch of pieces of the puzzle. There's a lot of pieces to this puzzle, Billy Powers, a whole bunch of pieces to this puzzle. Ladies and gentlemen, educate yourself with the links below. And as always, hasta la vista, God bless, and you can betcha. We're coming back with Jim McDougall's hat.